Alright guys, so we're going to jump right into the action here at Dreamhack Valencia with the ISO open, spawning in the upper right hand corner of the map. He is the Norwegian Zerg player in the pink trunks. It's Targa.
Yep, and his opponent spawning down here in the bottom left corner of the map. It is Aaures. I don't believe that AA is actually still in existence at this point, at least for StarCraft 2. I forget which team he is on currently, but he is a French Terran player, and he generally likes to mech, but it looks like he will be opting for a proxy racks this game.
Uh-oh.
This is all going to come down to how Targa opts to scout, and in addition, where the barracks are actually placed. So I'm kind of intrigued to see what's going on. Of course, it could be an engineering-made block. Still not 100% sure.
But SCV is making his way down. It's common to see it over here by this
It's looking
third
shifty.
area.
It's looking pretty shifty.
Curious to see, did the drone actually see that SCV? I don't
No,
think
it's
it
right
did.
out of the watchtower range. However, there is a second SCV being rallied for the second racks, and Targa will see it. Awkward.
Awkward. It could. I mean, that's a little odd for scouting time. I don't think that's gonna.
It's
time
quite
up
fast in
exactly
this
what he's gonna
matchup.
see. But
Yeah,
I mean,
he's just immediately going to place that second racks down, not even bothering feigning into the main base.
it was definitely an 11-11. He cut SCVs to do that, and Targa. He might have not seen that SCV. He's actually going to follow through here with the hatch first. You can still hold, of course, if he has scouted it out, and the Overlord's in a great position to see if the Marines are going to come up from the left-hand side. But if Aaures decides to go up the right-hand side, it looks like there is a small window that he can get up through, where Targa's not going to be able to see him.
Yep. And this can be quite powerful on a map as large as Daybreak, to have all of this forward production and early marine capabilities. I would have loved that SCV to make a bunker, but I'm assuming that Targa, having dealt with this many a time before, will pull a drone, yeah, there it is, to block any bunker from going down on the low ground before the marine support is there. And Targa does actually manage to get a scout off on the barracks, so he knows the positioning. He knows the fact that he's up against two barracks. So it's good knowledge to have.
Yeah, let's see how he responds here. Hasn't actually pulled that many drones yet because I don't think he actually thinks... Yeah, he hasn't seen anything come up yet. Has no reason to think come up. But now he's going to see the SCV. Is going to see the three Marines coming up the ramp. No bunkers have been down, but Aaures is going to start the first one here. Targa's pulling so many drones. He's taking this so seriously here, Panda.
Yeah, he has 3 drones mining right now, but if he can take care of these Marines, as well as this SCV looting the bunker, targeting the bunker specifically first up, he will force a cancel on this. So that's a pretty big win from him. 6 Zerglings are on the way, as well as a Queen here as natural. So he's going to be in a good spot as long as he delays these bunkers from going up.
There's a lot of Marines down here, though, and it looks like, okay, there are Zerglings out on the field. Going to target them down individually here. And
nice drone drill here from Targa, and he does manage to surround 2 of the Marines, all of them going down, actually. And it looks like Targa will hold.
Yeah, that's going to be that. The 11-11 racks has failed at this point. The follow-up back at Aaures' base is... not a whole lot of anything. I mean, he's going to drop that mule down. He's going to get more SCVs at this point. Looking at the workers' counting station here, it's 15 drones to 14 SCVs. And we have got another command center going to go down in the main base of Aaures. So, going to try to get the economy back up. I'm curious to see if he's going to drop down 2 command centers at once.
I'm hoping. Daybreak's large enough map that it can definitely be viable. And... because he delayed so much mining time, he's in a good spot, so his opponent really isn't in a position to make a bunch of the slowlings rock across the map and have them do much of anything. You really need the economy to go for like gas, to go for speed, something to make your aggressive units work.
The Targa's responding with spine crawlers at the front. I think he thinks that there might be a part 2 to this entire operation here.
And there will be a part 2, just most likely with not SCVs. And here comes the second command center, or I guess the third.
Okay.
So, unfortunately, Aaures is supply block right now, and calling out a mule instead of a supply drop. I'd love him to start a supply depot, as he's been blocked for a little bit at this point. Could be nerves, this is the first game of the day, guys.
Marine's going to do a slight little poke up at the front here, but I mean, the spine crawlers will have no problem taking that back. Targa does have good defense here with these 2 queens and lings up at the front. Terran player has responded here by going 2 gases as well in the main.
Yeah.
So likely to maybe I mean the three bases, 2 gases could see that mech transition you were talking about before, Panda. But the Zergling is going to get a full scout off here.
Yeah. Seeing the third command center there is pretty key. I'm surprised that we haven't seen an Overlord Scout quite yet, as he knows for a fact now that there are no barracks in the main. However, all of these Marines are being rallied back to protect these command centers.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised he didn't even wall off at that point there, but Aaures did have Targa pretty contained at that point, knew exactly where his army was at all times. Going back to Targa's base here, he has taken an extractor in the natural, but just now taking his second in the main. So 2 factories are going to go down here for Aaures, so it definitely is going to be that mech style.
Here comes the scouting barracks, as well as the third barracks. The second barracks is actually denying this third base here from Targa.
I like that.
Yeah.
A couple of Lings are going to poke in at the natural, but met by these Marines here. Aaures is going to be relatively safe, and without that many units out on the map, besides those 6 Lings for Targa, the possibilities for aggression are very limited. And yeah, I really like that barracks placement there.
Yeah.
Because,
and we do have the third factory on the way as well, so I'm kind of surprised that he hasn't added additional gas behind this, though.
All of those Lings in the middle of the map went down, so if Targa... I mean, Targa probably feels comfortable enough to just drone behind this consistently. In fact, he's going to be taking his lair at his natural expansion. It's going to come back to this barracks too here. So knowing that Targa isn't going for a third base, Aaures has got to know that, okay, there may be some type of aggression coming at me in the next couple of minutes here. He hasn't even sent a drone down to that third. No intentions whatsoever at this point in taking the third base. In fact, getting his link speed, getting that Baneling nest up as well. And with that evolution chamber too, I'm not sure. We're going to have to see exactly what that lair's for here.
Yeah, he still doesn't know that the mech transition is coming. So, previously scouted, he only actually sees one of the geysers, as well as both of the command centers. And the Marines very quick to deny this Overlord Scout here at the natural. And this is going to still leave Targa in the dark. He has yet to really get a scout off on what his opponent's composition is going to be, and preparing Spire Tech is a good choice. There's still no armory even on the way, and an eBay has yet to be added.
He did catch a glimpse of that 1 gas down at the natural. So in seeing that, perhaps he's going to assume there's 2 more gases that have been taken in the main as well. Aaures is now going to see that Targa wants to take that third base. In fact, Targa's just going to take it right underneath that floating barracks there. So Aaures is going to has good knowledge of exactly the time when that third base is going to go down. And look at all these Hellions in the main base over here.
Yeah, and here come both of the armories too. So with 2 tech labs on the factories, he should be set up to deal with these mutalisks. I'd love to see an eBay regardless, as it'll really, really help, as his Marine count is quite low at this point.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the anti-air, just 10 Marines out on the map, and you're right, Panda, there is not an eBay yet, anywhere.
Yeah, we have 5 mutalisks on the way so far, and, like, seeing how delayed his opponent's third base was, there are very few choices that a Zerg player can really use off of 2 base that are common at the pro level. And Targa, of course, he's a pro. So, Aaures should have a good idea that Mutalisks could be coming. And there's the first Thor underway. Most likely it'll be out by the time that these Mutas come across the map. And considering there are only 6, with the additional Marines rallied around, he should be good to deal with this. I don't foresee any issues. Yeah, even an engineering bay coming down now, so he should be fine.
Yep,
Meanwhile, there's a lot of
Mutas.
Hellions.
Yes, a lot of Hellions on the map. The Mutas have caught wind of them, and they are chasing them down. It doesn't look like the Hellions would be able to really do any damage besides at that third base right now. A lot of Banelings, a lot of Zerglings, these 2 Spine Crawlers, a partial wall off here for Targa at his natural as well. So he's pretty well defended against anything that's going to try to run by. But the moment that this army moves out on the map, that is going to create a vulnerability point where Hellions can run by and roast drones. Barbecue time. It's a fantastic thing, man.
2K minerals here for quite a while there from our Terran player. He's adding additional factories on now and floating his command center out.
Yeah, +1/+1 as well, with those 2 Thors on the way too. So it could be just a Thor Hellion composition right now. It looks like that's pretty much the only thing that he's doing. But if he does drop back or tech labs down on those factories, it's likely we're going to see him transition into some type of siege techs or siege tanks, which
It's definitely Thor Hellion is very, very viable against Beetling Bane. It's great to have a couple tanks mixed in there to deal with the Banelings. Once your opponent has like really high economy that he can just continue to trade with them. But at this point, we see that Targa knows 100%. Hey, my opponent's going mech. So I have a Roach Barn, I have an Infestation Pit coming down, and another Evo Chamber for these upgrades.
We do have an engagement here at the third base.
A lot of the Hellions.
Baneling's crashing into all of those Hellions there. In fact, the SCVs are going to get hit with the Baneling as well. The Mutas are over top of the Thors, and I mean, there's too many Thors here, though. He's going to have to get out of there.
Yeah. These Mutas will be deterred momentarily.
So if we look at how many workers were killed, there are only 6 workers for or Targa killed in that engagement. Lost a lot of Lings, a lot of Banelings, and now he is moving into Infestation Pit play with these pathogen glands going down and morphing the Hive at the same time. You know what also works pretty well with this Thor Hellion composition is mixing in a couple of Banshees into your composition. With those Banshees, you're able to take out creep tumors on the map. You're able to scout out to see when the Zerg is looking to take additional bases, and they're just good overall for adding more damage to your ground attack.
Yeah. It's really, I mean, we've seen them even come in late game when you would think, hey, there's Port Crawlers down everywhere, he has Overseers, he has a bunch of Queens, possibly even Mutas flying around, and still do a fair amount of damage. Even now and then you see pro games where they pick off a Greater Spire, and that is just game-changing. So, Pathogen Glands is about complete. The one thing that Aaures really has going for him are these upgrades.
Yes.
Unfortunately, he's not continuing with them. I'd love to see that, but it seems like he's just aiming for a follow-up push with Siege Mode and I would say around 160, 180 supply.
And that's going to be tough because we do see Targa switching into a Roach composition, and Roaches are fantastic at countering mech. They do take a lot of damage from siege tanks, but if he's going to be heavy on this Hellion Thor composition, the Roaches can really get up on top of those units, do a lot of damage, and with that Roach speed, they can be super effective. But look at these Banelings moving into the third base over here.
Unfortunately, these two siege tanks will be able to take out the Banelings before they do all that much damage, pick off a missile turret. Not the biggest loss in the word for the Terran.
Targa just wants to be aggressive here. He's not content with sitting back and macroing up, taking other bases. He has taken his fourth base, which is now completing. 2 Spine Crawlers are going to go down for defense there. Maybe this is just a posture position, moving these Hellions away from that watchtower. But a lot of Lings are going to go down in this process.
Yeah. And these are just, I mean, look at the mineral count for Aaures right now. He can most certainly trade these Hellions for more Larva spent from the Zerg player on something other than drones. Although Targa at this point, he's at 85, so this is a pretty good number for him to sit back and just go for really high econ Roach aggression again and again and again.
Yeah. And
behind this, Greater Spire's almost done.
Yeah, man. And once he gets that Greater Spire up, there are no Vikings out on the field right now for Aaures. He does have +2/+2 about to finish up, and enough Thors can do decent damage against Broodlords, but it's not the ideal situation.
Yeah. Here comes the unsiege from all of these tanks here. So it looks like that Aaures is going to be pushing out on the map and securing his fourth base behind this. It's a good decision. I like it. But with this amount of Roaches, Target can just delay for so long. And the Broodlords are already finished morphing. We have 1 complete already, 5 more on the way.
And the wall of spines.
Yeah. And Carapace upgrades on the way for Flyers as well. So Thors are just going to do a little bit less damage once that completes.
And he's heavy on these siege tanks right now. I'm getting kind of worried for him. I mean, the 10 siege tanks will do a great job at combating these 35 Roaches, but I'm not sure these 35 Roaches are going to be in that main army composition. As you said, he can just trade them. If he's gonna, if he ever sees the Terran move out on the map, he can just throw these Roaches into the third base, and that's not a planetary fortress. It's just an orbital command. Sure, he can lift it off, but I mean, the Roaches with Roach speed can definitely make up any ground on the SCVs and take them out real quick. And this Spine Crawler wall with the Broodlords behind it, man, this is going to be a tough position for Aaures.
And the fourth base is getting targeted by these Roaches. It is burning. It does not go down. Aaures realizing in time.
Is going to save it with the drop of that mule there. And Aaures is actually taking a position out in the middle of the map, but he is going to push forward here. And I'm not sure he's pushing with an advantage. Okay, turning back there. Definitely a smart decision.
Targa's getting just additional corruptors and additional corruptors. I'm kind of surprised that he doesn't have, let's see, check units tab. Yeah, no, he doesn't have an infestor on the map. Obviously the Viking count isn't all too high so far, so any area he has to deal with is primarily Thor-based.
Well, Aaures is doing all this consciously. He has scouted out the fact that the Greater Spire was morphed at some point. So he knows that the Broodlords are a possibility. In fact, responding now by making 5 Vikings at a time, getting Terran ship weapons level 1 and ship plating as well, too. So he's content to take this 4th base because really he's even on bases with the Zerg right now.
Yeah. And if he can just get a couple more defensive planetaries set up around the map, possibly even take a 5th base, he can definitely come back once you get that ultimate composition. Aaures tends to be a player that doesn't transition all that often into Raven Tech. He tends to go just really high econ and then go Vikings behind it. And just have enough starports out that he can replenish Viking count as they get taken out by infestors. So we'll see if this proves to be useful in this game, but I love that Spinecrawler wall over here at Targa's 4th.
This is a crazy wall. I mean, this is like serious defense, but it is spread out. I mean, if the Terran hits it in a line, though, I mean, you can take the Spinecrawlers out without having all of them really doing a whole lot of damage to him. And the thing is, true. you did say infestors, but we don't see any out in the field. Targa hasn't made a single infestor yet this entire game.
Yeah, his corruptor count is pretty high, sitting at 13 right now, but his opponent's going to have the upgrade advantage as well in the air. So, yeah.
19 Vikings with no fungals to combat that. I mean, the Corruptors do have 1-1. The Vikings do have 1-1 as well. So we're even in terms of upgrades there. But, I mean, Targa is just going to get this 5th base saturated down here in the lower right-hand corner of the screen. He has a bunch of Spinecrawlers going up.
A single Burrowed Roach here actually denying Aaures' 5th base. We should see one of these orbitals float out there at the moment. And here come the first 3 infestors are on the way, as well as adrenal glands actually for any sort of lingering max coming in the future. It looks like Aaures is posturing to move out here as his Viking count is up at 19.
Yeah, and he's got these sensor towers too, so I mean he's gonna have ideas when the Zerg player decides to do any run bys, if that is the decision that Targa wants to go for. But I think Targa's gonna have to use the bulk of his army here to defend against this.
Goes down on all of the Corruptors as well as the Broods. So he knows what he's up against. Unfortunately, he doesn't know about the lack of infestors.
Okay, and here's what Targa's going to do with those spine crawlers.
Put
them
spines
all in the middle. The dance, the migration of the spine crawlers across the creep plains. We'll just listen to the sweet sounds of claws digging into the earth.
Yeah. So a scan does reveal that all of these spine crawlers have indeed moved.
Oh my gosh. And the Broodlords are just going to go down so quick. The Corruptors aren't here to defend against them, but the Corruptors have to be so careful not to clump up. And oh, so many of them clump up there. And this is not looking good for this air army with no infestors, no fungals.
No, he's got the infestors, but the tanks are all sieged up position.
Infestors out, but yeah.
Nice target fire.
This is a slaughter in the air. So many Vikings still out on the map now. Broodlords have no Corruptor back up here at this point. 1 Corruptor on the field. The Thors are shredding through everything. The Vikings are going to clean up. Targa is now going to push that Spinecrawler back. And what is he going to do to remax here? Okay, he is going to go for Roaches.
Yeah, very nice. Nicely played out here by Aaures. 2-2 is finishing in the air relatively soon. His opponent does have +2 Flyers Carapace on the way. I'd love to see a 5th base added at some point here for Aaures, but it's not 100% needed. He's still sitting on a bank right now and producing 5 Thors at a time to get a composition that he can push across the map with. And
his income was up over 4,000 at one point in this game, and that's just based on like the mules alone. But I mean, one thing Targa did gain from that engagement was the fact that there's no siege tanks anymore. No siege tanks anymore. Aaures is going to be making 4 siege tanks at a time though to get that count up. So he recognizes that it could be a vulnerability point in his play right now, and going to respond accordingly. +2/+2 ship weapons did just finish up, but it looks like Targa wants to switch into some type of ultraless composition here.
It's unfortunate that he's doing this at a point where he really doesn't have the opportunity to tech switch without being penalized for it. Aaures can push across the map right now, and when there are really no high-tech units, he's just sitting on a bunch of Roaches, adding on 8 Infestors at this point. I don't know, Mech Army is pretty good against pure Roach.
Yes.
Neural Parasite will definitely come in to be a factor, though. We have 3 Siege Tanks on the way right now, but there are none with the main composition here of Aaures. And the Roaches trying to wiggle in here, but there's really no room. These sensor towers are doing a great job at zoning the Roaches out.
There's no room, and it's tough to tell what the composition for Aaures is with all those Vikings floating over top of it. I mean,
Yeah.
there are 9 Thors out on the field right now, 3 more in production as well. So that's that's a whole lot of Thor, man.
Let's see. Wow, 6 more infestors on the way. I like the fact that he's adding them now. He kind of realized the way that last engagement went that he could have postured a little bit better, but
Fungals were definitely needed, at least Fungals in mass were definitely needed there. Siege tanks are going to siege up just out of range of this hatchet over here. Neural Parasite is going to finish up, but if he's able to get the Neural Parasites off on these Thors, that could be great, but the tanks are just have outranged the actual range of the Neural Parasite. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how he decides to use his energy here. Okay, going to sub a 3 Infestors here, throw a couple Infested Terrans, but all the Siege tanks were unsieged and prepared for that sort of move.
So we do have a lot of infestors here, which is going to make it really difficult for Aaures to push into the 6th base, but I really feel like he has the army to do so. There are Ultralists on the way right now. This little Roach Force moving into the natural, as well as the main picking up a couple tech labs here and there.
Yeah, he's actually hitting at the 3rd too, and going to be forcing this Orbital Command at least lift off, but I don't know if Aaures is actually paying attention to the 3rd here. The Orbital Command is going to fall. These Roaches have done a great job at picking off reactors in the main from the starports and everything. Vikings now even landed to try to take out Roaches.
Yeah, netting himself around 10 worker kills or so.
I really like this play from Targa here. This was something he was trying to do earlier in the game to try to waste these Roaches on just distracting the Terran player, pulling his army apart, killing a couple of units here and there. Infestors even at the top at the 4th. Can they actually target down this orbital?
He has +1 missile attacks. Not all that great, but certainly enough to take out this planetary or orbital.
And there's still 4 Roaches in the main here. It looks like Aaures has been pushed to the brink. He is posturing up where it looks like he may want to attack this base over here, but Targa's just in a dominant position, man. He's got a bank right now. He's got all of these bases flowing for so long at this point in the game. I think this base in the lower right-hand corner has been unattacked the entire time so far. A couple of Infestors are
unfortunately 3 Infestors getting caught trying to move in there for some possible special tactics.
Does he have the composition yet, though? I mean, not a whole lot of Ultralists. Good Fungals there with good Infested Terran placement to do siege tanks, but Vikings are now in assault mode, and this is pretty crazy to see here.
Yeah, the one thing I have to say right now, due to those worker kills, around 40 netted by that Roach attack, he's sitting at 40 workers, which means that his army size is huge compared to his opponent. Fortunately, Targa realizing this is remaxing on pure Ultra after losing a couple drones. The Planetary, the 4th, will go down.
Planetary does go down. He loses a couple of Ultras in the process there. These Ultras such expensive units, but serving their part there by delaying, or by at least just killing the income of the Terran player. If you look at it and his mining right now, he actually doesn't have anything producing. He's long distance mining from this base, but other than that, Targa's done a great job to completely dismantle the economy of the Terran player.
But a lot of those Infestors died, and without Neural Parasite, this composition absolutely tears Ultras apart.
Yeah. I mean, Thors can almost one-shot him at this point. Look how many Thors are on the map.
Yeah.
17 Thors. Blizzard probably wasn't thinking 17 Thors were going to be created at any point in professional games, but here we are at the 32-minute mark. 17 Thors on the field with Viking assault mode support. So
I have to say I missed the Mass Thor TVP style that we saw like almost 2 years ago at this point. It's weird to say that, but this game is definitely...
Jinro, man.
Jinro,
the pioneer, dude.
Even Joshi was doing some 2-base Thor all on some TVP for a while there, a couple months ago. But he is actually going into Broodlord production yet again. 2 Broodlords are being morphed. I can't... Oh, they're over the 4th game, right? Sweet.
I don't know if that's the choice. I mean, it can add some broodlings in there for additional DPS, which can definitely at least throw off the pathing of the Thors. Infested Terran's going down at what was the 3rd base, or I guess it is still the 3rd base of Aaures, and they're taking down a ton of SCVs, and the SCV count just keeps dropping steadily. 7, 6, 5. Gonna be down to 4 SCVs at the end of all this. I mean, the time is now for Aaures to go in.
He's being really, really defensive right now, and actually, a couple more beach balls being thrown over the siege tanks there. Unfortunately, due to the grounded Vikings, are not able to do all that much damage to the tanks. And
I mean, let's
If a
not...
couple Fungos can go down on the ground at Vikings before they get a chance to lift,
Yes.
Aaures definitely has a shot, but the Broodlord count is so low that these Thors will just rip them up.
19
They do
Thors.
have +3 weapons, so we'll see. This game is taking many a drastic turn.
Yeah, the upgrades now for Aaures are in favor if the battle goes to the air, but on the ground here, these Ultralisks are fully upgraded.
And look at this poor Ultralist harass. Oh, he's actually going in for a flank here. It looks like Targa is going to want to engage as the Broodlords come in from the front, forcing an unsiege on the tanks momentarily.
And the Vikings are now getting shelled on the ground. A couple in the air, a couple on the ground. But here we go. The Ultralisks are going to crash in. Can he get the Fungals he needs down on here? He actually is going to
Targa's firing the Infestors down immediately. Beautiful play here from Aaures, and looking in a strong position to take this game as all of the Ultralisks just melt. We still have 17 Thors remaining. Not a single died. And Targa is looking to go down 1-0 so far this series.
This being the last base that is actually mining on here. Going to evacuate the drones over to this area, but Aaures gets an immediate scan down there to know, okay, I know where all of your bases are, I know where your only potentials lie in this game, and I'm going to crush them with my massive Thor army here. So many drones going down in this process. And Targa, man, he had good defensive posturing. He was able to get his macro up better than the Terran player at some point, even dismantle the economy of the Terran player, but the army composition, I mean, the composition of the armies turned out to be the deciding factor in this game, and it looks like Aaures is just going to take it down here.
Yeah.
A couple of the Lings run by are going to force this orbital commander. Okay, it is going to make that orbital commander go bye-bye, and we do see a hatch going bye-bye here, but, I mean, this is just threads of hope for Targa here. It doesn't feel like he's ever going to be able to crush this army.
The mules, they're repair mules, but getting called down nonetheless. As I think there's actually one orbital command left in this game right now. He needs to get a lift up on that, like,
Aaures.
soon. It falls,
Aaures.
and...
He has 2 SCVs, but...
Is there another orbital command on the map, though? Because
No.
he does not have 400 minerals to build another CC.
No, and he's actually... He was repairing there for a while with those SCVs, but I mean, if he continues to do that, he's going to run out of money. And this has become a very interesting situation. We actually see Ultralisks and Lings out on the field too over here for Targa, so he's not out of it yet, guys. Able to take out all those orbital commands. I mean, the buildings can lift for the Terran player and get out of here and stay alive, but if he's still able to make Corruptors, he's still got a fighting chance in this game. And looking at Targa's bank, I mean, he does have 2,000 minerals. He's going to be able to remax on Lings. And, I mean, if the Lings can get around on the Thors, there's some potential there.
That's regrettable. I can't believe that he left that CC to die.
He left a lot of his CCs to die this game.
Yeah,
a lot of
and
them stayed on the ground.
It's kind of one of those things as, like, you know, it's just one. It's just another one. It's okay. But no, he lost every single orbital command that he had.
The snowball effect, man. I don't know. We're gonna have to see what's gonna happen here. I mean, the base is going to be taken out here in the top, so Targa forced to take 2 more bases down at the bottom. In the main, left-hand side of the map. Composition-wise, he doesn't have that many 6 Hellions out on the map. Jeez, this one's a scrappy game here. Scrappy first game in Dreamhack Valencia at the ISO Open.
I mean, the Vikings are primarily what Aaures has to deal with the mass link, and he only has 6. So not have any ability to produce additional Hellions, as I believe all the factories have died as well. Actually, no, they are floating in the corner of the map right now, setting up for the eventual base race. But these 4 Infestors here, as there's no skin to detect them, can definitely get off some Neurals, and with 1 tank really to deal with Neuraling Infestors, I don't know, Targa still has a chance.
Yeah, no detection. So, I mean, maybe we'll see Burrow Banelings come into play here as well. But, I mean, they can't actually be too effective against this huge mech army. But certainly something that's possible here. I mean, Targa's army's huge. If he swarms this all clumped up in a ball, I have the feeling he could take this out here.
Yeah,
I think
both players
he's
have
still
basically
alive,
no
man.
economy at this point. This is going to be... It's going to come down to the engagement.
Gonna be a clash. Clash of Titans. And here we go. Comes the engagement. I think Targa's got it.
Yeah. This is insanity, as all of the Ultralisks dancing around There's zero supply from our Terran player, and he has to be kicking himself for losing this game.
Oh man, and there we go. What a funny game. GG.